We'll talk about Lono configs in this video. What are Lono configs? Lono configs are configuration values you set that dynamically control what CloudFormation will provision for you. So configs provides you with some dynamic control over CloudFormation. To cover configs, we'll review this blog post. So Lono has two types of configs, params and variables. This diagram can be useful to explain both types of configs. We'll start with params. Param basically happen what Lono calls runtime. And params are just traditional CloudFormation parameters actually, but Lono allows you to write params file in a little bit nicer format, I think. Here's like the params file documentation. Typically what you do is you pass a CloudFormation parameter to a CloudFormation template when you launch it. A thing you might want to pass is like the instance type, so you could specify what type of instance you want the stack to launch. And you write it in this format right here. Param key, parameter key, and parameter value, this JSON format. It's a little bit verbose for me. This is what Lono lets you write in. It lets you write in key value pairs, and it just looks like a .env file. I think it's a lot easier on the eyes. So what Lono does is it takes this params file, the simpler one, and then it translates it into this JSON format before it sends it to the CloudFormation API. So that's how parameters work in Lono. Next are variables. Variables happens at what Lono calls compile time. So variables actually results in Lono compiling different templates down. So the way the lifecycle works is Lono would take your templates and your variables that you've authored and then combine them to go through a compile phase, result in different templates, and then it would take that resulting template, combine it with any runtime parameter files, and then combine that in the runtime phase and then launch the stack, okay? So variables provides you with even more control when parameters don't suffice. Generally, I like to use parameters most of the time. I like to stick to the native CloudFormation constructs, and then when I need to, I go to variables when I need more control. Sometimes I do use variables to clean up too, because sometimes it's just a little cleaner to do with variables than it is parameters. But generally speaking, I stick to runtime parameters. Here's an example of params file in this blog post right here. It's just using the instance type. And a variables file looks like this. It's actually a Ruby file, and any instance variable in this Ruby file is generally made available in the template DSL. A variables or an instance variable in Ruby, it starts with this @ sign right here, this @ sign. So this description right here is an instance variable. And you see how there's this string, and we're string interpolating a Lono env here. So this is going to get replaced with wherever the Lono env environment is, development, production, whatnot. But then we actually have to use the variable in the template. And here's where the template is. So then here's just an example of the variable being used. And I'm using this example description is because it's very simple. Description is something that you cannot control with parameters, runtime parameters, but you can control it with variables here. And it's a very simple example. So that's the only really reason I used it. And then here, we are going to deploy the stack. Here are some screenshots to verify that both parameters as well as variables work. And here's a cleanup command where we delete the stack. All right, so with that being said, let's jump into the demo now. Here is the demo project we've been working with. We'll go first to the params file. Here's a starter example. We'll take this and just change it to T3 small. Okay. Next, variables. We'll go here, and I think it was description. So we'll just grab the code from here and paste it in. So that takes care of variables, except we do have to actually use it in template. So let's actually open up the template and use it. So we go in here, and you have to match it up here. So this variable becomes generally available in here. Okay? So now we are ready to launch the stack. We just need a terminal to do that. So I just start up a terminal, Lono cfn deploy demo. Okay? So that would deploy the stack. It should say create in progress shortly. Create in progress right here. Let's verify that the stack is being created in the AWS CloudFormation console right here. So that's creating progress. It takes usually about 30 seconds or so to create both the instance and the security group with CloudFormation. And the CloudFormation is a little bit nice here. It's creating the security group first because it knows it needs that as a dependency before it can move on to create the instance. CloudFormation is an orchestration tool, so it orchestrates the provision process for us, so we don't have to think about it. We just think about things decoratively. So everything is now being done created, so we can verify things now. What we want to verify is the parameter. This is a T3 small, and we can see that that's what we set right here, T3 small. So that got passed through. That looks good. Let's also verify the variable. We could verify that by looking at the tab output, the template output right here. And you can see my description for the development environment. And you go back to this variables file here, it got replaced with the correct environment here. Okay, so now we just have to clean up. So we confirm everything's working. So let's go and grab the cleanup command. And I'll show you an extra flag here. You can go that, Lono CF and delete demo, and then you go -- sure, so we can bypass the are you sure prompt. So that's going to start cleaning up. We'll verify that this on the console is delete in progress, and that's it. Okay, so we cover two types of configs in Lono. We cover Params config, which is a runtime configuration, and Lono just allows you to write it in a simpler env key value file. And we also cover Lono config variables, which gives you even more power control at compile time. Okay, hopefully this video is helpful. Hopefully you enjoy videos like this. If you do, give it a thumbs up. It encourages me to create more content like this. And if you like this Lono project, go to GitHub and give it a star. I really would appreciate it. Cheers. Have a good day. Cheers.